The Corporate Transparency Act, also known as the CTA, is a new federal law that took effect yesterday. The law is designed to create transparency in businesses as a way to fight terrorism, money laundering, and other financial crimes. Joining us now is David McCarville, partner at the business and finance group Fenimore. David, good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us. Give me a better definition here, the Corporate Transparency Act.
Yes, thank you, Ted. Thank you for having me. So the Corporate Transparency Act is implemented, as you said, yesterday, January 1st, 2024. It's now effective. And the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network is the agency responsible for collecting information from reporting companies who are not exempt from the CTA. They have to provide beneficial ownership information for owners who have 25% or more ownership or have substantial control over about 30 million businesses in the U.S., affecting primarily small and medium-sized businesses.
When you say beneficial ownership, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so beneficial ownership is defined as 25% or more control over an LLC or corporation, or someone who has substantial control, such as a person who may be able to remove a manager or a director of a company. There are various ways to come at a beneficial owner. But the question you have to ask is, what percentage ownership do they have and what control do they have directly or indirectly over the entity?
And again, this is enhancing transparency of company ownership in terms of fighting financial wrongdoing, correct?
That's correct, yes. FinCEN's job is basically to police America's economic system and make sure that people are paying their taxes, that they're not engaged in money laundering or terrorist financing. And there have been instances where shell companies have been used to do these things and to basically use these shell companies for illicit financial activities. And so FinCEN is trying to combat that through the CTA.
Is there a way, can you have a shell company for a shell company? Obviously some folks will try to get around this thing. How difficult will that be?
I think it will be difficult, yes. Given the requirements here, if you fail to comply, FinCEN can basically use both criminal and civil penalties against you. Civil penalties can be $500 per day fine. Criminal penalties can be a $10,000 fine and up to 2 years in jail. So the CTA has significant penalties that come along with non-compliance or failure to comply. So certainly not to be avoided by businesses that have to comply.
And when we're talking businesses, we mean corporations, LLCs. What else is involved here?
Yeah, it's corporations or LLCs or any entity that had to be formed by filing with a state or tribal organization. So there are some exemptions for existing large companies that have 20 employees or more full-time employees and $5 million in revenue. Also, a lot of companies that are currently being monitored by FinCEN, financial institutions, publicly traded companies, nonprofits, there are some exemptions for those. But for most of the small and medium-sized businesses in the U.S., they will have to comply with the CTA.
How many entities do already report and have already been required to report, or at least report voluntarily?
Well, it just became effective yesterday, January 1st, 2024, so the forms are now available for people to report. So if you have an existing company, you have until January 1st, 2025 to file, and they do expect about 30 million entities to have to file this year that are existing before January 1st, 2024. If you create a new business or LLC after January 1st, 2024, you'll have 90 days to file with FinCEN. So if you create a new entity this year, you have 90 days to file with FinCEN. And then in 2025, you create a new entity, you have 30 days to report to FinCEN.
But again, let me rephrase the question because I don't think I made it clear. Before this law, how many people had already been doing something like this in terms of reporting and identifying?
Yeah, they were not really doing this. If you think about the way that corporations and LLCs are created currently with the states, there's a minimal amount of information that have to be provided, and each state is different. And actually, there is a small business lobbyist group called the National Small Business Association that has filed a lawsuit against the Treasury Department, and that case is winding its way through the Alabama federal court right now and probably will be appealed regardless of who wins. But yeah, this is something that, it's the law of land right now. So for businesses that are reporting companies, they need to understand it and also understand how they're going to gather this personal information and submit it securely to FinCEN.
What do you anticipate as being some of the questions that you're going to hear from businesses? Obviously they're going to need advice, and as you say, I think understanding is the major factor here, is it not?
Yeah, I think understanding and also understanding how your business is going to comply. Are you going to hire an attorney or a CPA or a third-party provider to file this information for you, or are you going to engage directly with FinCEN and go through the process yourself? I think what I would urge, all small businesses right now to do is just to understand what's required and understand for your business how you're going to gather this information and secure it, because the information that's being required is protected under data privacy laws. So you have to be very careful with how you gather this information and then submit it to FinCEN.
Last question here. Response from the business community, people you've talked to. Is there concern about this? Is there heaving a sigh of relief here? What are you hearing?
I think a lot of people are unaware of it, and when we do inform them of it, they are surprised. And it's additional requirement for them. They're going to have to navigate it. So I don't think very many small businesses are happy about this, but it is just part of doing business, unfortunately, in the modern age, and this is the law of the land right now, so people do need to comply with it.
Yeah, surprises are rarely good for small businesses, especially surprises like this. David McCarville, Fenimore, good information. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ted. Have a good evening.
Thanks.